All right, homework on the French Revolution. Let me load that up. So, the first question will be: how did the early constitutional committees highlight the discrepancies in what rights everyone was entitled to and how citizenship looked different for certain groups? Well, during the advent of the constitutional committees, there was the issue of how rights can be split up for two types of citizens in France, which are active citizens and passive citizens. Active citizens involved men, especially property owners, and passive citizens mainly involved women and peasants. And women, especially, were stripped of any rights such as the right to education, speech, and worship. The second question is: describe the role of the National Assembly, including both the pros and the cons. Well, the National Assembly's main goals were to come up with a constitution for France, a constitution that would both be able to serve the French rebels and the king, or at least satisfy them. And during the process, they also try to aim to reflect their goals with those of the public as much as possible. And because of this, one of the biggest pros that came with the National Assembly was to be able to pass the new constitution, in which limited the king's powers by creating a bicameral legislature, along with establishing a system of recurring elections. However, one of the biggest cons of the Constitution was still not that it was still not egalitarian, meaning that it still greatly limited the rights of passive citizens, especially women. And more so, the government still not do away with the complete monarchy. The third question was defining the following groups. So, for sans-culottes, the sans-culottes were a popular force of working class Parisians that played a pivotal role in the development of the revolution. This was because they had lived in such horrid conditions that they inevitably allied with the Jacobins under similar goals. I'll go over that in a little bit. But next is the Girondins, originally emerging from the Jacobin movement that campaigned mainly for the end of the monarchy, but still abstained themselves from the rampant radicalization of the revolution. You can kind of say that this political group was more moderate in their beliefs than that of. Um, Let me restart. This political group was more moderate in their beliefs for a republic in France compared to the Jacobins. And speaking of Jacobins, the most famous club during the French Revolution, the Jacobins had radical and revolutionary ideas that goes beyond overthrowing the monarch, but to dismantle the feudal system as a whole. Jacobins and sans-culottes both allied together in the French Revolution, as they both had similar interests in overthrowing King Louis XVI. Jacobins had a strong foundation in being able to keep up with the needs of war, economic chaos, and internal rebellion. Next. Number 4. Describe the National Convention and outline the role of the Montagnards. Well, firstly, the National Convention was a single-chamber assembly in France that succeeded the Legislative Assembly. The National Convention mainly hosted Jacobins, but quickly split into different factions such as Montagnards and Girondins. I think it was a majority split for Jacobins for sure. At least 2/3 of the parliament was. Montagnards, however, were especially radical compared to regular Jacobins, as they seeked a more repressive form of government that controlled the price of goods, not to be too high, but to also punish those who go against their ideas of their republic. In fact, during the fall of the monarchy on August 10th, 1792, the Montagnards immediately called for the execution of the king, along with volunteering in the September massacre of 1792 against Austria a month later, and Prussia in order to keep their ideologies in government. Number 5. Where did the terms left and right come from? Well, and I quote completely: the terms left and right, used to refer to political parties, is one of the lasting legacies of the French Revolution. Members of the National Assembly divided into supporters of the king to the president's right, and supporters of the revolution to his left. Now, these obviously opposing sides between liberative government and restrictive government still persists in today's political spheres. Now, the last question Number 6, summarize the broader European reaction to the French Revolution. Well, the European states responded very negatively to the war, as they saw their rebellion as a threat to their own monarchs, believing that their ideologies would spread unto them. This fear of rebellion troubled some states, such as the Holy Roman Empire, Prussia, and Austria, so much that they responded to the war in aid of King Louis XVI. These include the Brunswick Manifesto, which served as a threat to the French rebels, as if they were, let me restart. These include the Brunswick Manifesto, which was put forward by Prussia in order to support King Louis XVI if anything negative were to happen to them and the royals. Along with that, the Declaration of Pillnitz, which was both by Prussia and the Holy Roman Empire to declare the support for the French king.